good evening, depending on where you are tuning in from or if you are catching us on replay. This is The Awesome Journey, and I am your host, Kelle Steinicke, along with my co-host in care, Christy Howard. And we're just two girls that connected on LinkedIn 15 years ago, live on opposite sides of the country, have giving hearts, a passion for paying it forward, and I may have prayed to be living louder in my purpose. And now here we sit in front of microphones, bringing you The Awesome Journey. And as many of you know, our primary goal here is to highlight incredible individuals to share their unique stories and challenges, because it is a good reminder for all of us to remember that we are united in our personal journeys. And I know pretty much every week I say we crush that goal. And this week, I was prepared to say we're next level crushing the goal because our guest, Scott Huesing, who, as you can see, is not sitting here with us at the moment. But I do want to say, just for everyone, he's an incredible individual. He is a former U.S. Marine, commander of 𝒃𝒄𝒏𝒆𝒚 company, and the best-selling author of 𝒃𝒄𝒏𝒆𝒚 in Ramadi, which is a firsthand story of U.S. Marines in Ramadi, the deadliest city in Iraq. And man, I am telling you, I'm not finished with the book yet. Holy mackerel is all I can say. There truly are not words. I have sobbed. It's intense. And I highly recommend everybody go get it. Because Scott, being the incredible individual that he is, because not only everything that he has gone through his career as a Marine and everything that he did with 𝒃𝒄𝒏𝒆𝒚 Company, not just in Ramadi, but what he continues to do now in his life is continuing to giving back to the veterans. He just finished doing his ride across the country for Save the Brave. That ended at the end of July. And then he actually had a move that was unexpected, and he was going to tune in today, but things have not been going the way that he anticipated this morning, and he profusely apologized, and we will be rescheduling. And we do apologize to everyone as well, but of course, his time is everything to us, and we could not thank him enough. And we do look forward to the reschedule. We will have him back. And in the meantime, if you can read the book, 𝒃𝒄𝒏𝒆𝒚 in Ramadi, I highly recommend it. But we'll just be giving you a little bit of an update today, and happy to answer any questions if you have any, or ideas for future guests as well. But we'll do a little update. And before we do that, I will hand it over to my fabulous co-host in care, Christy Howard.
Hello. Yeah, Scott. If those that know Texas and you're moving from another state to Texas, Texas is a hard move across state. So he apologized. And for many of us, Kelle and I are included, knowing how moving to another state, you tend to get a little like, oh my gosh, I forgot. So Scott and I met on social media a few years ago. And what's great is that he was in California. I was in Texas at the time, and he had posted that he was going to be in Texas. And I called him up, and I'm like, we got to meet. Come out to dinner with my husband and I. And that's how it started, a great relationship. So we're looking at probably October, the end of October, bringing him on. What's great about Scott is that he has, that battle was the worst of the worst. And now he's the executive director of Save the Brave. So he's all about helping the vets be seen and be heard, and to save them. I mean, they need to be, they need to know that we appreciate them. So with that, we'll wait for him to come on. Again, we appreciate everybody wanting to come and listen to Scott. But as Kelle said, the book, even go to the website, Save the Brave, and what they're all about, because it's a nonprofit. So it's all about donations. So I wanted to go into a little bit of some of our guests that we're really excited about, that I have gotten confirmation, one who is no longer on social media, but he's rising above to be on the show with us. So we're going to be having some recruiters again. Any job seekers who want to, have their voice heard, please DM Kelly or myself. But we're going to have Jay Dobbins on in a few weeks. And if people don't know who Jay Dobbins is, he is a retired ATF agent who infiltrated the Hells Angels. He's got 2 books out, and it's pretty impressive. It's again another badass friend of ours. We've got Crystal with wheelchairs for warriors. Hopefully her co-founder Heidi will join us. We also have some small businesses, owners of small businesses, from helping funds, helping startups, as well as HR and very well-known companies to help understand the marketing and sales. And I think I lost Kelly. So I lost Kelly. So it's all me, I guess. And so anyway, as I said, I appreciate everybody logging on. And if those who are chatting on with us, give us some feedback. We've been doing this for a few months now, and our guest list is very diverse. We started out having one direction, but as the ticker says, sometimes shit happens. It's the journey. It's awesome, but you got to pivot. That's life. And so we're also, I forgot who we're really excited, the Here Brothers, the Here Brotherhood. I think I said that correctly. They're going to be on. And that group, if you do not follow them, they're all about men's mental health. And this is where Kelly and I are going into, is having support with mental health. The men's mental health is very important to us, as well as women. Everybody's mental health is important to us. But we have seen in our own personal lives of how hard it is for men, especially job seekers, when they are they're the sole, the breadwinner at times. And so it just, to understand that a brotherhood, a group of men, and these are manly men that are there to allow other men to be vulnerable, where women, we're able to talk a little bit more open about it. And so to be able to be more vocal on both ends, this is what we're all about. And we're all about the heroes that have kept us safe, who have fought for us. And I've got Kelly back because I'm just over here babbling. It's your show.
Venus and retrograde.
So anyway, I was
is
talking
a
about
bitch. That's all I got to say.
the Here Brotherhood. Yeah, the Here Brotherhood. I've gotten to that point.
Awesome.
Just about mental health and how we've pivoted from, doing one direction. And now I sort of call it a Pollock painting. It's just like all over the place, but it's a masterpiece, because that's what somebody's journey is. It's a masterpiece. Yes. So it's all your girl. You can talk about why we're here.
Yes. And I definitely do not want to repeat anything that Christy said, but just really to go on the whole thing of, when we did first start this whole thing, we wanted to help as many people as we could. That was really like the goal, and share stories that were going to be inspirational, motivational, provide hope, and, honestly, just give some freaking sunlight into this world, because there's so much garbage out there, and just so many places that, there's fear and, all these things. And it's like, we just wanted to give something back that would be helpful to people. And again, just give some motivation, inspiration, and or hope. And what core portion of it was definitely mental health, and how that really has played out has been so organic, and how it's all come together. And to boot, the other thing that has come in is faith. Christy and I, have never hidden our faith on any means. And for anyone who doesn't know, like the T on the awesome journey is a cross. And it's fascinating how many of our stories and guests that we've been having on, that their pivotal moment had something to do with finding their faith or refinding their faith, and or finding its first time, of course. So that part has been so rewarding and so wonderful for so many reasons. And men's mental health has also been something that's organically come along, and we both could not be more passionate about it. And not just for men, but for women, because we also think, if you're a spouse, a partner, it's such an important thing. And it's also a conversation that is not as accepted. It's got more stigma. It's not the everyday. Whereas if Christy and I sat here all hour and talked about women's mental health, nobody would really bat an eye. It would just be like, oh, great conversation. Um, Men, the stigma is still there, which is unfortunate. But I love seeing things like the Hair Brothers. I don't know why I keep doing that.
I think with a rabbit,
I know,
the
right?
hair here.
But what they do is so incredible, and how it exploded what they did. Truthfully, they put it together, and I think their growth was kind of shocking even to them, of how many people and men were reaching out and wanting to be part of that community. But it also just goes to show how many of us currently in the world, the world is different. People are struggling not just in the job market, but the job market is definitely part of that problem in a very large way for so many people, and particularly men. And we, hate seeing that and what it's doing to so many. And it's just so important to be able to share the stories. Like last week, having Graham on, his complete transparency and openness to share his journey and his story has helped so many, I have no doubt. And we're just grateful to be able to be, a show that can provide those stories and those glimpses of motivation, inspiration, and hope to so many. And believe you me, it also helps Christy and I. I mean, we take something away every single week, every conversation that we have, people that we, interview, if you will, before the show. Um, and I just sometimes pinch myself and go, wow, this has been probably the coolest thing that we have ever done for so many reasons. And the way that we have been able to stack up our calendar, honestly, is like beyond a blessing. And so I don't know if you would mention, Christy, and I do apologize if I'm repeating anything. But if anyone has any ideas, we're always open. If you're someone who wants to be on, please DM us. We are always open for a conversation, and to really reiterate on the whole thing of mental health. Christy and I don't do this because we're private people. We do this because we truly mean, like, hey, we want you to know you're not alone. If there's something we can do to help anyone, we will, whether it's just a connection with someone else, or just a kind word sometimes, or just knowing, hey, thank you for letting me know I'm not alone. Do message us. I mean, we answer everything that we get. And so please don't hesitate. And
So I'm interrupting because that's
Yeah.
what I do. So Jeff
to hand it to you anyways.
has asked us a question: how the two of us handle our mental health.
Ooh.
Well, for me, I mean, I've always been open since 8 till I was about 40. I struggled with depression. Like, I would move thinking if I moved, whatever was bothering me would disappear. But it doesn't. It follows you. It follows you. Understanding, and Jeff knows this because he hears me say it constantly, I get out of my head. The moment I know that my head starts swirling with things that are triggering me, something from my childhood, something from, my adulthood, not feeling that I'm worthy, and just believing in myself. And yes, I have my faith is very strong. I mean, I didn't come into my faith until late in life, but just believing that I have a purpose and I have the power of how I'm going to react to things, and how, and to understand if it's even that important to even react, that, know that let's say somebody says something to me and it triggers a childhood PTSD or something like that. And I always, there's that, emotional intelligence. I have to understand emotionally where in me, and something, not always about me. It's about what they're going through and understanding that. So my mental health, and that's why I do what I do with the confidence coaching and stuff, is because I've gone through those dark times to the point where 3 times in my life I was like, I'm out. And understanding that the mental health can get you down to a very, very dark place, a very dark place. And so I'm very empathetic for it. So what about you, Kelly? Because I mean, you've been in those places as well.
Yes. And Jeff, and I think kind of too, because I know that you're personally struggling in the job market. I mean, as one, ditto. I'm with you, brother. And I tell you what, when Christy and I say, we're in tune, we know what triggers us, for the most part, and we have, a core group of people maybe that we reach out to, and being self-aware, but do understand that, and I've been to therapy many times in my life, and I'm sure I will be again. And I don't say that in a laughing manner. I didn't mean it that way, because it is very serious. But I think people can tend to believe that, well, once you went to treatment and you're better, that like it's over. And it's like, no, it's an ongoing thing. I still get triggered. And when what I'm saying to you with the job market, man, I struggle some days to get up, because I'm like, am I going to get another friggin' rejection today? Because I can't take it. And it doesn't mean that I don't live there though, but give yourself grace. And that's what I've learned with myself. When I'm in that funk and I'm really feeling it, and I know I start to spiral in it, it's like, man, what is happening right now? And why am I in this space? But it's also like, give myself grace to feel what it is that I'm feeling, and get out of it. Because I tend to get ticked off at myself when I get into that place. I'm like, damn it, why do I not want to do anything? Because I know I need to get up and do stuff. But I go back to my basics, and I know I've said this on other shows. When I was in my deepest, darkest place, I had a checklist that was like, get up in the morning, get dressed, go out, and smile at someone. And then over time, the list increased. Smile at 3 people, because you got to re-practice. And I think Graham said this so great last
Graham brought that up. Yep, Graham brought
I knew I felt like shit. So why not feel like shit somewhere else? Like I didn't want to just be at home by myself feeling like garbage. Why not go out and play tennis and feel like crap? Which truly is a really great thing to do, because getting physical, and I know Christy says this to you a lot personally, is about stepping away from your computer screen.
You have to.
And understand,
because right now you've got that. Right now you have that time.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. You don't have a job that you're having to report to and having a boss that you got to report to. You have the time to enjoy that time. And I know it's mentally, it's frustrating. And staring at that computer and waiting for a reaction to that application, and even waiting to hear if you're going to get rejected. I just got 2 rejection letters for jobs that I applied for back in September. I didn't even remember them, because and
for whatever reason,
I was throwing them out.
Too. Same. I've gotten rejection like 9 months later, and be like, I don't even recall this. And 2, it's so offensive. Like, seriously, now you're telling me no? I've already gone through the whole thing of like, well, I guess they got my resume. I guess they're going to say something. But it's also reminding ourselves, and Jeff, I do this to myself. It's not personal. It has nothing to do with you, or me or Christy. That rejection letter is unsympathetic, or as unempathetic as it is to do something like that. Nobody sat in a boardroom at that company and said, hey, let's send the rejection letter to Kelle and Christy 9 months later. We really want to screw with them. It's just their internal systems that are broken, and just understand that. And I know there's so many things that are happening in the job market right now that don't make people feel better because it is a struggle. And and one of my struggles too is when people are working and they're like, "What do you mean it's so hard to get a job? Everybody's hiring." And it's like, um, have you been in the job market lately? Getting full-time work is really a challenge. And, so I think we all get it from all sides, and it's different in our lifetimes. You are never unemployed truly for more than like 4 weeks to maybe a quarter, depending on what level you were in an organization. But now it's 8, 9, 10, 12, 18, 24 months. And, people aren't prepared for that. And on top of everything that happened in 2020, obviously, I don't need to remind anybody, but the financial impact that it's having. And then again, the isolation, not being with groups, staring at a computer screen all day. I mean, all of these things, create those issues of mental health, like but understanding like this is such a struggle for me, and knowing, and I agree with Christy, man, step away from the computer, go, and it's great. Jeff, I know you personally do go hit the gym. um, Staying active and staying physical is so important. And keeping some kind of structure, at least I know that's what works for me. I've got to have some kind of structure. But then to go back to the whole thing of, but when you're in it, allow yourself some grace, but just don't live there. And when you're feeling, Chris,
Well, and also check out. I mean,
yes.
Kelly, there's been times where I'll like message her going, "Where'd you go?"
And I'm like,
You're not, because it's check out.
yes,
Don't answer texts. Don't get on social media. Don't go on LinkedIn. Kill your notifications for a while.
yes,
Silence stuff, because just sit in the silence.
yes,
Because right now you've got so much stuff going on. And this is for all job seekers. I've been there.
oh,
I mean, I was laid off after COVID, like most of us were.
yep,
And and the job seeking is different than even COVID days.
mhm.
Unfortunately, it's very, and we've got Graham coming on next week, and because he's a recruiter, so he gets to come on twice. He shared his mental health journey, and then he's going to share about his recruiting. But I will always say the system is broken.
One,
Now there are good recruiters out there, but however, I twice I've gotten where clients are, well, it said remote, and then the recruiter calls to interview them, and then they're like, well, no, it's hybrid. Well, then why didn't you say that on the job description? The first line should say, this is a remote job. You need to live in the Los Angeles area,
right,
because it could turn into a hybrid job. You're there once or twice a month. Have that on your first sentence of a job description, because now you're not wasting your time and you're not wasting the job seeker's time. When
that's
you
right.
have, United States remote, that's great. And then you have, well, they have to work in, the Pacific time, East Coast time. Wonderful. But again, it should be at the first thing you write, because now you've wasted people's time to read, to say, oh, this fits me. And by that time, a lot of people don't go all the way to the bottom. And now they've applied, and now you're getting a lot of applications that do not fit the job description. Yeah. It's about having good communication. And unfortunately, it's not there.
It's awful.
They want it. And there's so many TAs out there looking for a job. And I'm hoping that those people that are looking for a job, that are in recruiting, they're going to change their ways and maybe become a better recruiter. And they might be a great recruiter, but they're out of a job. So understand that now you're on the other side, and now you know how it's going to be feeling looking for a job. The networking is huge. Being vulnerable is huge. Sharing your story is huge. LinkedIn used to not be that way. It was all about, here's my job, here's my business. Then you'd get the email going, do you need financial advice? No, I don't. If I did, I had connected with you, I would have reached out to you. And I get it. This is part of, how people are marketing themselves and selling themselves is opening up a conversation. Get to know your connections, because you never know who somebody knows that needs to know you, over just throwing your resume into, is it called Workday? That Workday application where you have to throw it in and then you got to type all your resume.
Oh God,
So and again, this is just a quick conversation. We're going to be short and sweet because Scott, I think he's probably in El Paso right now, and that he's got another long day, because I have moved to Texas 4 times in my lifetime, and that is
I'm so sorry.
It was a shorter move from Chicago to New York. It's like going through Texas is a long move.
Oh, amen.
So anyway, so as we said, just share, DM us. I mean, I tend to babble, so I'm all over the place.
I think just to kind of go off of what you were just saying, Christy, is one of our other guests that we're having on, and I don't know if you mentioned this, is Dan Horgan. He was the original CMO for Black Rifle. And he now is with Pabst, but he did a post on Sunday that talked about he never planned on being a job hunter. He had 4 jobs in 1 year. He left Black Rifle to go on to new things. Like he wanted to, go on to a new, and now he's been at 4 jobs since, and explains that. And one of them was a hybrid job. But after a few months, it was decided like this, because he didn't live in the same state. So they had to fly him in, and they decided like this isn't working. We do need someone here. So I think so many people are also struggling with that. I took this new position, and then after, 2 months, we came to the conclusion like this isn't going to work. Or I got there and I was like, wow, this is a complete disaster, not all what I was sold. I'm out. But even that's an epidemic, right? A lot of people are seeing the job hopping. And then, of course, we hear things about if you have job hopping on your profile, that's such a turnoff. And so there's so many things and so many facets, which why I think it's so important and why we did want to bring recruiters on and good recruiters, because unfortunately they do get a bad name, but there are some really great ones out there. I do say question a lot of, because there's recruiters that make posts that I'm not kidding you, that I honestly, I would want to report them to LinkedIn and be like, remove this person. Like, this is the worst advice they could ever give. So you got to be careful of who you listen to, and feel free to reach out to someone and be like, hey, I saw this advice. Is this accurate? Or is this really true? Or is there something else? And also to go on what Christy was saying about networking, make your networking matter. There's nothing that irritates me more than when someone, first message they send me is them selling me their product, and they don't even know if I need their thing. And it's like, so you didn't even take the time to know me. So you're not looking to do meaningful networking. I am. I want to connect with people that there's either synergy or just opportunity. I don't need to necessarily do business with you, but if I can do something to help you, I'm happy to do so. And it's funny you bring up financial advisors. I feel like lately I've been getting so many messages from financial advisors. And I do respond and say, hey, I'm happy with who I have right now. Thank you though for the message. But it's annoying to me to be like, don't sell me right out of the gate. At least try to set up a call to be like, hey, I noticed, and read my profile. Do not send me a message saying, hey, I'm a marketing consultant and I can help your business. Clearly you have not gone to my page. So I think those are just really important things. And what does Greg have to say here, Christy?
He says, I think for many of us, there's been a time when we were going under, the boat was out of reach, and our only hope was a hand that chose to reach out to us. That's why what you're doing is very important. And I appreciate that, Greg. And then Jeff comes in, and I know this is tough. I understand. The issue with working your connections is even though they are connected with you, they really don't want to help you. this is where you get to know them. I just, you can be connected to somebody and they've got a job and they're not going to help you because they don't understand. Some will. I've had a few people that I've connected people with and just, can you help them in this arena? But you have to also, as I said before, you have to sometimes also go back that it's not about you.
Yeah.
They're not connecting with you because they don't know what to do.
Right.
It has to do with depression. It has to do with somebody saying, I want to commit suicide. They don't know what to say and they don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. So if they can't help you, some people can't say, I can't help you.
That's right.
Because they don't even know that they can say that. And just if they say, I can't help you, and you can say, well, you work for this company, you should know all this. You don't know that company.
That's
you don't know how that company works, of what the connections are.
Right.
I mean, if people would reach out to me about a company that I worked in, I might not even know the department just because I work for that company. So just to always understand the whole picture and don't take it personally that they're not helping you.
That's right. Because there's
they
also
might just
some
not
people, and that's right. And because I used to be this way before 2020, I was on LinkedIn, but not really, I rarely checked my email on LinkedIn just because it wasn't a way that I ever communicated. Now I check it regularly. And there are some times that my inbox is ridiculous. But some people don't check their inbox here all the time. So, or they have so many messages coming in that maybe they've missed your message. Again, you never know what's going on the other side. And I feel like we can't reiterate that enough. Do not take it personally, because it's not meant to. Nobody's doing it on purpose to be like, man, how can I hurt Kelly or Christy's feelings today? Although maybe sometimes they are, I don't know. But I truly don't. And you've got to stop doing that. Oh, right. So, so I just think that is such an important takeaway. And do we have any other comments we want to go to?
No, I think we can just pull it down now.
Yeah, I just want.
So next week we're gonna have Graham back on. Those who were not able to see him last week, we have him on the replay on the Awesome Journey business page, as well as both of ours feature. We save them at top on the top post. You can see it. You'll see the picture of Linus with the blanket, and just always remember Linus. So when you're traveling, when you're traveling into that dark rabbit hole and that big old blanket's covering you, just be like Linus and you're dragging it, and then but the blanket will always be close to you. It will never go away, because that's just life, and sometimes shit happens.
That's part of our journey. That's right. And just also as a reminder to anyone who maybe tuned in late and are going, why are you guys talking about this? And where the heck is Scott Huesing? Scott ended up moving, and he was in a remote part of Texas and simply could not get on, and things did not go the way that he thought they were going to go this morning. We are rescheduling for him to be back on. He profusely apologized and quite honestly was trying to, he's like, maybe I could get on my phone in the moving truck. And we were like, no, dude, you're in the middle of a bad place in Texas that you're going to have crappy reception. And your time, moving, we all know how that is. That is, especially when you're moving across state, that is no fun. So yeah, he will be back at another time.
Your internet's been a little wacky.
It has been. And that's why when I came back on, I'm like, this Venus in retrograde is worse than Mercury for me for some reason. So anyway.
And Mercury's like, I think next week.
Great. Freaking double whammy. So, all right. That all being said, everyone, thank you for today. We do apologize again for Scott not being here. We will happily announce when we have him rescheduled. And until next week, we thank everyone for being here today. Again, do feel free to DM us. And remember, we're all on this journey together, and together we do make it awesome. Have a great day.